Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, night to all, wherever you are and wherever you are. Today is 15th of December 2024. Halfway to Christmas, probably in 2 weeks' time, or 1.5 weeks, but technically, to Christmas. So, for me, I'm not a big celebrator of Christmas, but just got my early present today, as you can see. One Japanese yen and my graded 2 yuan 1960. Now today, the only major news sidetrack from numismatic is Syria. The collapse of Syria's strong arm man Bashar al-Assad. Uh, you know, he became a political refugee. His whole family became political refugee when a political refugee and political refugee in Russia at the moment. What a shocking news, to be honest. To me, it's quite a shock because that means Middle East would have another country that will be dwell into a civil war, into a more bloodbath. I would say it's not peace that we seek. For example, we have seen strong armed men toppled. One good example, or I can say two good examples, that has been toppled and yet to be restored properly is Iraq, Saddam Hussein, and Libya, Muammar Gaddafi. Two strong men that has already collapsed. Another one probably I would add to is Sudan, but Sudan is a bit more stable because it is more internal. There's no external interference, I would say. Who knows? Anything CIA would know, or any secret agencies would probably interfere into this matters in favor for their country. Syria is one of those factors that has been proportionately been amplified. And one of the sad news that I've heard is it's not being broadcast widely in CNN News, but you had to dig even deeper to read about it. They had an article, to be fair, in legality. They do have their obligation. They've done it. It's Israel have taken over one of the parts of the Golan Heights in the south of Syria. Israel, in the reasons that they say is they have to occupy a high ground facing towards Syria. For the reason is national security. What sort of national security reason for them to occupy another foreign country's sovereign? Personally, for me, I disagree on the conduct of Israel occupying another sovereign state in a reason to protect their own sovereigns. Well, those are the same bigotries that's being used by Germany when they are asking for Lebensraum for living space. When they occupy Poland, the reason is there are not enough space in Germany for national security. And blah blah blah. This happens again. The same reason where the Jews suffered, and it's now using the tool that makes them suffer in those periods to make others suffer. It's the same concept. So whether this is going to be proportionately thrown into the international stage, we will not know yet. But this is a very recent news. Everything is still blur. But for it to resolve this matter, especially on the question on Israel and the question of Palestinians, the entire Islamic nation, I mean really the entire Islamic world needs to band together and unite together in great consensus in political stand, in economic stand, a cultural stand, I would say, and military stand to gather together and condemn the Israel's action, and to use that to debate against Israel in any subject matters of the question of their existence, the questions of Palestinians' existence. That is my personal view, but of course, plenty of people have different viewpoints. By my viewpoint, Israel will continue to bully other peoples around the world so long the Islamic world, especially their neighbors, are not united. Basically, they're using the concept of divide and conquer. Make sure the entire Islamic world are not united. They are differentiate together. They fight each other. They have no consensus to unite together. Then Israel can survive. And that is the objective for the Israeli government. It has to be that way. If not, they will fail. They will be outnumbered. And morality is America cannot defend Israel in that position when the whole majority of the nation condemns it. But right now, it's difficult. Many nations don't unite together. We have Iran and Saudi Arabia fighting each other for the mere of their religious differences. Not oil, both of them have oil. Not territories, both of them are quite similar in size and territories. But the difference is because of religion beliefs, probably extend to the culture, but mainly about religious beliefs. The separation between the Shia and the Sunnis is a big obstacle in the Islamic world. But for Israel, it's a good news for them. This segregation prevents the unification or the unity of the Islamic world to band together against Israel's atrocities. Now I'm saying quite in the position of Israel position, but I do also think that Israel should have the right to exist. But the way that to achieve it, that throughout history I've seen the actions they have taken, is blatantly very, I would say, blatantly wrong. But they are able to do this because they are being protected by a big brother, the United States, and many of the others don't dare to fight against the United States. They try to make friends with the United States. Of course, the United States will say you have to be friends with Israel and you have to make concessions that Israel's have the right to exist, and so forth, and blah 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 blah. So it's like I'm kind of imagining like all these countries are in the park, in a school park, school playground, where there are big bullies like that, and Israel is like in the middle there, trying to capture everything and control everything in the school's playground. Anyway, with Bashar al-Assad gone, a strong armed man missing, is Syria will be in a political void. Who is controlling it? Who has the connectivity on the military and blah 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 blah? They will have civil war. Mark my words. So for it to say Syria will finally have peace, I would astoundingly say no. They won't have peace yet until another strong armed man takes over the country. Again, the way to resolve it is you need a strong armed man, and that strong armed man can make a decision to make a democratic election more freer, more fairer. A dictator that is considered as a good dictator, that truly make a transition of the function from a dictatorship country into a more not say liberal, more democratic country. More elections and more transparent true elections is conducted as part of the new political stability cycle. How to achieve this? You need another strong arm man to be able to do this. Without another strong arm man to capable to do all this willingly and fulfillingly, then we will see a political vacuum, and Syria would be even worse. Now, coming back to numismatic, what's going on with Syria's money? Inflation will happen. Hyperinflation probably would happen. Of course, the banknote would change. We will no longer see at least I would know at this point of time, the second largest denomination banknote of Syria. I think, if you're not mistaken, is 2,000. If I'm not mistaken, it's 2,000 Syrian pound. Because that note, more specifically, I would say, would maybe be halted as usage, would be destroyed. Most probably, it would be, because it has the face, the portrait of Bashar al-Assad. So at least that banknote may not be circulating, or it will be condemned as non-legal tender in Syria, just because the face of the former dictator was there. And that note at the moment probably might just suddenly shoot up high. I do know that there's a period of time that note was very difficult to get. The 2,000 and the 5,000 Syrian pound notes are very difficult to find. But the smaller denomination were much more easier and more accessible. So those notes, I look at it in the images, is quite okay. But probably the Bashar al-Assad, the 2,000 Syrian pound would change immediately to something more liberty, or rebel have secured the country's freedom from Bashar al-Assad, something like that. The 5,000 more patriotic, like militaries, and nothing about involved with Bashar al-Assad, I would say. But this 2,000 one would have a big change. Probably the change, maybe we can look through history, like what happened to Iran when the emperor, the Shah, the emperor of Iran, or king of Iran, had the Padishah had collapsed and ran to the United States as a political refugee. The Islamic Revolution have succeeded its goal to becoming a Islamic Republic state of Iran, which we see it today. And immediately the banknotes that they have done is they cover the face. They overprint. They still print the old notes, or they just overprint the notes where the face of the emperor, or the king of Iran, the emperor of Iran, or king of Iran, they just stamp a lot of the pattern, but basically it's just overprint and stamp over the face to cover the face, including the watermark is covered in the momentary before the new design comes out in play in public. So emergency money will have something like this, and probably that is only temporary. Those kind of banknotes would fetch a lot of money, or probably the last stages of the Bashar al-Assad's banknote is become more rarer. We do not know that how much is being circulated. We don't know what's the situation at this point in time. So anyway, today I went and got my notes back and bought one more new one that surprisingly I cannot look away, that I have to get it, and it's a must. So one of it, I got back my grading notes, which is the 2 yuan 1960, and I bought recently another 10,000 yen. I will explain in details each of those notes. But let me start that. Today I'm very happy. This is a very surprise happy, and I also got a very disappointment through it. So there are 3 scenarios that I've got experience through today. One, finally I got back this note. Took 6 months. Took 6 months to get this note back to my hands, actually. Normally we project 3 to 4 months, but I got it for 6 months. One of the reasons is because when I send it out to my handlers, my dealers who handle this, and he has a handler to handle this, to make the cost effective to be more cheaper for each note, to be cost effective, they have to accumulate in big bulks. Probably a number of more than 20, 50 banknotes in one shipment to PMG, actually, so that the cost would go down. So I understand that was the situation that happened. So that's the reason why it's 6 months, probably 3 months to grade, 4 months to deliver it. So it took 2 months for them to store in a place of my notes until they accumulated enough of the number of notes they desired to lower the cost, and then they ship it out. So basically, the 6 months ago, it was being stored for a momentary reason. The second this is that I met another dealer who just recently came back from Hong Kong's numismatic convention. It was a very bizarre news that I've seen compared to what is being posted in Facebook. The number of the participants, I would not say dealers were quite normal. It's the participants, resoundingly very little number of people compared to last year, or even the last event in early this year in Hong Kong, is that the numbers was quite small, especially from mainland Chinese not exhibitionists, but the traders, I would say, hobbyist people. They were less. One of the speculative reasons is because they don't have funds to buy or in search of new notes. Economically, in China, there has been a trend that is going downward turn, and a lot of the notes, the China notes, were quite overheated in price, for especially uncirculated notes and so forth. So brilliant notes were just very, very high, skyrocketing high, and a lot of people can't afford it. Even if you want to sell it, you cannot make it back money because nobody's willing to buy or pay for that price. So, and with that, they have less participants on it. So less participants to buy and trade and so forth, making the convention much more slower and more quieter, as some people would say. And knowing it, how the auction runs, I think certain number of notes should be very lucrative became not so lucrative to sell. It's better to keep it than sell it at this moment of time for Chinese banknotes. So those are the news that I got, quite surprisingly. So he came back, I met him, and he said, I just met him, and then he said he found, during his time at Hong Kong, he found a dealer that has a bunch of old banknotes. Now he knew that this note is old because I did tell him. I'm a Japanese avid collector of notes. I did show him what are the differences. So this is the one without the silver patterns on top here, and the blind man on the side here, or the L. So this is the older series. This is the D series. So surprised that he got a number of it almost about uncirculated. I would just say in that position, I won't say it's uncirculated. At least there's no fold, which is the beautiful thing for Japanese banknotes. So I'll talk about that more detail. So first thing first, we go through. First one is the grade one. So the grade for this one, I've already know what's the grade last week, because they will inform me. My dealer actually informed me to come and collect the notes. They already got the notes, so he told me what is the grade already. So there's surprise is gone there. So surprise, I got this one for grade 55, about uncirculated. EPQ, that is the bonus for me. I never thought this would get EPQ, but yeah, it got EPQ, which is a very good position, I would say, this note. Yeah, I would say it's a very good position that it's got 55. When I got this note 6 months ago, you can see in my 6 months ago the video that I've recorded for this one when I got this from the auction. I got this from the auction. The price you can just refer back to. I just don't want to overlap what I say. Was on the spot. The lot did indicate is about uncirculated actually, so it wasn't saying uncirculated or extremely fine, but it was on the dot about uncirculated. It did not indicate what is the grade, because that time when I was bidding the lot, this it's just raw note, just plain raw. So it was very beautiful. That note is, and it is still very beautiful, very, very beautiful, I would say. I thought it would be uncirculated, probably will bump up more than what is presented by the auction house, but the auction house was honest, and comparing what it said at that time when I bid and what I've gotten back from grading it about uncirculated, so it was quite on the dot. So it's quite reliable the way they grade or judge the note and publish on their lots for auction. So I was very happy with that. Sometimes an auction house that they had a poor judgment would lead to those kind of negative effects. Let's say if this is they've declared it as uncirculated and I graded it and is considered as about uncirculated, basically they have overestimated it. It kind of would reduce my chances that I would think, yeah, maybe I should participate again in those auction house. And if I don't participate in that auction house, the auction house have no clients to bid, or there's no bidders to bid, making the auction house losing money. A good auction house is getting information more precise before they list it in the auction lots. The more information they have, the more clarity that the bidders have to look what they are going to bid, the better. That is a responsibility as the auction house. So I find the auction house, this one was quite resoundingly responsible, and I like it. So thumbs up from there. I would participate, and I've been participating every auction they had, so long there is a good note and in reasonable price, then I'll bid for it and try to win it. So having a 55 uncirculated EPQ about uncirculated is really great. This is the common variation, which is the star. As you can see, the pick number is 2A, one of the most common graded notes for this type of watermarks. If you have another one, it's called the coin and the pool coin, which is another variation. That one is much more rarer and it fetches more higher price. I've actually got that one. I didn't plan to grade that note because the condition is not so great for me, and having to know that the grade is having to know the quality of the note is quite weak. But I had to tell myself I've got that note in my kind of junior high school, around my age 12, age 13, 14 years old. I've got that note, my first note that I bought actually, for about 40 to 45 ringgit. I remember around there, less than 50 ringgit. That's almost like, that's about like 50 ringgit. That's about $20, $10 to $20 US dollar for that note. And today that note is very priceless. It has gone probably, I would say, with that kind of condition, I would say it would go about 600 to 700 ringgit, and I got it for 50 ringgit of less. So I'm kind of happy with that. So this note, again, another one I'm quite satisfied. Graded note around 55 without EPQ is already, I've seen dealers selling it for 1,200 ringgit. With EPQ, it's definitely going to be higher, probably 1,500, 1,600 ringgit. Who knows? Again, price do fluctuate. Willing buyers, willing sellers. When there are demands, the supply is very little, the price goes up. So it depends on the market. So yeah, one of my notes that I've got, I'm quite happy. The next one, probably I will get back my grading note. I actually have another 2 more notes that I've graded. They have not returned to me. So another one probably next week, and probably another one another week before the week of Christmas. So I hope I'll get back my notes. Yeah, I'm quite happy with this note. So satisfied. One thing I noticed is the printing of the labels. They're quite different. The United States directly printed and sent and engraved in the United States. They are cut very nicely. Well, else the one in Hong Kong, they have those punched holes here on the side. You can see it's like the stickers that you tear, open up a package. There's a dot lines here. Yeah, that one I think that is in Hong Kong. But I have a note that is graded PMG in Hong Kong, and another note supposed to be together with this 6 months ago in PMG in United States. We can make probably next week. We get next Sunday. I will make a comparison once I got that note. So yeah, that is this note. And another one is we'll talk about is Japanese note D series. Now, what is so uniquely different? Of course, the note's condition is great. You can see there's a lot of these markings at the back here. These markings are quite common, which to me is indicated this is a side note. When you see this note, it's because when they're printing, this type of so-called errors are not considered errors. They only happen almost a lot of the Japanese banknotes, which has the last piece of the stack. Then they will have this indication, and this indication tells me they are one of the top corners of the note being printed out, which has this markings. This is the corner side and this is the front side. So I believe this note is the last note of the stack and below, and there have these markings, all this on the side here. I don't really can see it there. You can see all this. These are not made by me or anyone, but it's made by the printer itself, the Bureau of Printing, the National Bureau of Print made those, and there are quite a number of them, and it's considered not an error because of the machine's function. Now, what's so different about it? Of course, as I say, it's very lucky this note has no fault. Now, Japanese note, especially with their paper design, is very uniquely material, I would say, compared to other currencies that use other than like polymer and cotton and so forth. They are we know that notes very few, because a lot of our notes were made in such materials, cottons and linen. Whereas the Japanese, they have their own unique paper material that gives out this kind of color, the light brownish color, and with that material they're able to do their watermark a much more clearer, more sharp in the design compared to the press of the cotton and linen type of material. But the disadvantage is with this note, especially this material, once they fold, that line fold cannot disappear. It will be permanently there, and it's going to be very ugly in a collection. Very ugly. That's the problem of the Japanese banknotes. But the good news of the note is they last very long. The durability is much better than normal cotton notes or cotton and linen notes. So yeah, that's the note D series. Actually, now I'll just say this is a D series because of the indication on the side here. There is no silver circle security light sticker, and also the blind man of the L indicating 1,000 yen or 1,000 yen. This is the older series. It's called the D series. Currently now is the F series. The E series just recently, early this year, to be no longer so-called the main printing current notes. So this one was printed in, I just have a guess with my mind, I'm playing with my mind actually, is this note is printed in 1989 to 2003. Quite a long journey of the printing, and has a variety of changes. This is one of the changes that I'm very excited to find and very excited to be happy. D series is the last final year. In the year 2003, they started printing this note in a way that the printing name is National Bureau of Printing. Now, now this one is considered the name of this label. If you see the new notes and also the F series and the E series, they all carry this name. But before that, 1 year before they changed the D series to the E series, this was printed out in the older version with a new bureau name of engravers and printing. Before that, they have another one. They call it the Ministry of Bureau of Printing, or in Japanese word is Zaimusho. Also another one that printed about 2 to 3 years. So to speak, I would just say 2 years. So from there, and then before that is a huge amount of print is okurasho, another one of Japanese words. The bureau they changed. The older one is called okurasho. So among all the 3 printing names, this one has a shorter period of time of printing. Now, at the moment, because the catalog book did not actually stipulate what is the value of this note, from uncirculated, from proof to very fine and fine condition, they don't have the value on their official catalog book on the Japanese banknote, numismatic banknote for coins and banknotes. So I could not guess what is officially in the median market in Japan worth this, how much it worth. But knowing it, probably in eBay can give a trend that the ones that carry okurasho is the most common. The ones that with zaimusho, the second oldest one, carries more expensive, and this one will be the third one, which is the National Koku in the front. This one, although I found that it only printed 1 year, is still not expensive compared to the second one, Zaimusho, which printed 3 years or 2 years, I would say, in quantity of the timeline. So that is according to eBay sales, not in Japan's locally or domestic sales. But technically, this note in Japan is considered still valid. It's still valid to use in Japan as 10,000 yen. That's right, it's still worth 10,000 yen. You can use it to buy stuff, you can use it to buy goods, and it's still legal tender. I repeat, it is still legal tender. All these years since 1989, the print, all these notes are still legal tenders. But of course, knowing it is not printed anymore, it brings a little bit more extra. And knowing this note, it looks beautiful, to be honest. This note is very, very, very beautiful, other than the printing errors on the sides and so forth, which is considered not an error, I would say again, I repeat. But it's part of the unique that the note position and the printing of the note, there has to be the last one of the stack. Then other information is for this note, I can say that this one is VM 465882L. It's a double prefix, brown color. While they changed the name of the bureau, there's no first prefix. There are only 2 prefix, and it continues using brown color. To correlate that, the only time they change the color of the prefix is when the notes of that current prefix has already maxed out. Then they restart everything back to A and A 00001, and with that they change the color. So you have the same looking banknote with the same alphabet, same prefix, same number, but the color is different. That tells you that's how the Japanese system differentiate the notes value and when it was printed on in such a way. So yeah, I've got this one for 350 ringgit. To me, is very reasonable. eBay is actually currently selling around 500 for worse condition than mine that I've got. Good condition like this probably will go about 600 to 700, or even if it's graded, probably 800 ringgit. And knowing that this note is much more difficult to find, knowing it is the national, it's only printed within the time period of the issue only period of 1 year, making it even more rarer. Now, I can use the catalog book I use is this one. The catalog of Japanese coins and banknotes. This one is 2022. Of course, the notes price fluctuation from 2022 to now. The book's reflection is quite unchanged. They're quite similar. There's no added information also, so everything is still hunky-dory, which is very typical Japanese. Because Japanese, when they print a product or when they produce a product, they minimize the existence of errors or defects on the products. So knowing the printers like this, they won't make errors. They'll make minimum errors, human errors, but virtually very difficult compared to other countries printing of their notes. There's a lot of errors, and they just let it go, and it still functions as normal. And here it is. I got a note here. There you have it. This is the note with 3 different banknote symbols. So in my collection, I've already got an Okurasho for the black color prefix numbering for single alphabet and 2 alphabet. The one that I'm missing now currently would be the brown one, which is 1 prefix. I'm missing. I got a 2 prefix, but I'm missing the 1 prefix. Again, the 1 prefix is much more rarer than the double prefix, because the volume of number being printed out in double prefix, it doubles up the odds of having a single lot. So the single odds quantity is much lower, and the question arises, how many of them are there out there to find and collect? That's a big question, but that's one of the journey that I have to find to complete this set. But I almost be close to completion. Just left only Okurasho brown color prefix single alphabet. After that, they have Zaimusho, which is printed, as I can see here. The first print was 1984. Sorry, my correction is 1984. The first print of this note, and then subsequently changed to brown prefix number in 1983, and then it changed its name, but the color remained the same on the prefix, which is also brown, to Zaimusho, the bureau. The Ministry of Bureau and Print was printed in the year 2001. Sorry, it started printing year 2001, and then after the year 2003 comes, after 2003 came into the picture. It started to print another new set of note called National Printing and Engraving Company. Now this one you can see is 2003. The newer one looks something like this, and the first print is on 2004. That is how I've indicated that the note that I've just got, this one, they changed to National Printing, Bureau Printing. In the year 2003, they released this as a first note. So it is exquisitely rare, and one of the proud moment I love is that I can finally say a tick stating I've got it and completed. So the only notes that I'm looking for this one currently is Okurasho brown single prefix. Again, it's another one very rare sight to find those notes, but that is part of the hobbyist journey. This is my journey that I brought. But finally, I have something that I've wanted, something I've really looking for. Is one of the very difficult one, because most of it I find is the one that is the previous series, which is the E series. A lot of now people are selling the E series and so forth. I'm looking also for E series. Again, only still one note, which is a brown and single prefix, similar to this the D series. So there you have it. It's quite short film for today. So let's say thank you once again. Thank you very much for your your time for watching this video. If you like more, if you have questions, I would say, if you have any questions, do write in, and I'll try to comment as possible. And again, and if you like to see a future video, do subscribe. I also do put some short clips. I've been trying to do something to keep it up with viewers if I want to present it. Yeah, I'll also be making a short clips about probably 15 seconds to 60 seconds kind of clips of the note that I've got as a part of like entertainment sort of for myself to play with. And yeah, just a little final disclaimer that I've used YouTube to record my hobby, my collection that I've got, to talk about my collections and other people's collection if they permit so, or of my time and my beliefs. So using that story as a library to store my videos. Also, on the other hand, would like to open up to show other people, to inspire them to do collecting banknotes, coins, stamp, whatever, to start them collecting, or to share my collections, what they could possibly be looking for, or start looking for. Most of my notes is mostly Japanese, Chinese, and probably United States. United States are much more difficult for me to get or to even acquire it, but I try my best to acquire it within my financial capabilities. So yeah, that's it. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope to see you again real soon. Bye.